True crimers, partners in crime, it is True Crime Monday. We're going to have a different name for it, but we are going to start an additional episode a week on Monday nights. So we will have True Crime Friday and Something Monday. And it is inspired by tonight, America's Most Wanted premiered, and Sebastian Rogers was the first case. So I could not wait to come on here after reviewing it, watching it twice. I wrote my notes and I want to discuss. So let's get into it. I have my coffee ready. I have my notes and I'm ready to go, but we have to do the disclaimer, of course, that this is for entertainment purposes only. This is just my opinion, my speculation, my thoughts, my opinions. These are not facts. I want you to form your own opinions and just for entertainment purposes only. So now we can really get into it. So I was really excited and waiting for this. America's Most Wanted. It was pretty hyped up and it was kind of disappointing because it was only 11 minutes. And when we were doing mainstream media, mainstream shows, that's kind of how it works, right? But it did give me quite a bit to talk about nevertheless. So regardless of whether it's 11 minutes or not, it got Sebastian's name and face and story out there to the masses, right? And that's really the most important thing. I don't know if you've watched it or not yet, but we had CP and KP, and then separately we had Seth Rogers, the bio dad of Sebastian Rogers. The first thing I noticed is the difference in appearance in KP and CP. Not that it matters like to the case, but in every time we see them in different interviews, on the news, they look so different, almost unrecognizable, honestly. So there was a great panel made up of all different backgrounds. So we had Payne Lindsay, who is from the podcast Up and Vanished. I'm not sure if it's YouTube or not, but Up and Vanished. I think it might be YouTube. Then we have Callahan Walsh from America's Most Wanted and Elizabeth Smart. We all know Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped and now is an advocate. And Derek Levasseur from Big Brother, but he is a detective. He's worked for the FBI. He has great credentials as far as law enforcement goes. And he also has a podcast. I'm not sure the name of that, but you could look up his name and it will come up. So I am quite sure after listening to them that they absolutely do not have the information that we in the true crime community have that have been following the case day in and day out. But their initial thoughts with the little bit of information they do have were interesting. So Payne Lindsay said that definitely he believes someone else is involved, whether that's somebody that is known to the family or unknown to the family. And again, remember, they don't know all that we know. And then Callahan Walsh was just kind of talking about facts and the autism, people with autism tend to elope and things like that. And we kind of all know that's not even really been a thing, like an option. I think he's just going by statistics. And then, and he said, if he eloped, then maybe somebody picked him up or maybe met up with him and then took him. But again, I think he's just going from statistics. Elizabeth Smart, now she was going and talking about the fact that he didn't have shoes, that the ground was frozen, and the fire ants, the fact that he had, stepped on fire ants when he was little, had that horrible situation. And the parents both report that he's always worn shoes since. So the fact that he up and left on his own without shoes does not seem in the realm of possibility, really. And then the ground to be frozen on top of it. And then Derek Levasseur, he really, as a detective, had more questions than opinion. He knew the doors were locked, but he wanted to know if the windows were locked. And that's kind of what also told me they didn't have much information. But what was interesting to me is they brought out the 3 a.m. flashlight video just for, a couple seconds. But they all said it definitely looked like flashlights. And the trash truck was never brought up. It wasn't brought up. So that's interesting, because that has been such a controversial subject, is that flashlight versus trash truck. You know, it's green team or Seth team. Or no, I'm sorry, green team or Proudfoot team. Trash truck or flashlight. In my opinion, everybody knows those are flashlights. Some might not want to admit it, but everybody knows those are flashlights. And they did bring up the fact that, you know, the parents did say that Sebastian left with the flashlight. So, anyway, that was the panel's quick thoughts, and they were very quick. So yeah, I have my thoughts there. So there was a part where they had KP driving around, kind of reenacting what she did the morning of his disappearance. And so she's driving around kind of explaining what she was doing that morning. And she said she was asking herself, you know, where could he be? Did someone take him? These are the questions that were going through her mind. But if you remember, in one of her very first interviews, she said, I don't know why he would walk out that front door, or why he walked out that front door. That's kind of a massive contradiction. Massive. Because she was asking herself if somebody took him, but then she's saying very early on, he walked out their front door. But we all know, because of the taking the trash out video, if he had walked out the front door, he would have been seen. And CP admitted that. And I think when you fabricate and you don't tell truths, it's hard to keep up with. You have a script and it's very hard to keep up with. When you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember. It's just fact. It's fact in your brain, and you can say it over and over again. When you tell a lie, you have to remember and keep up with it all. And I think that's why we see so many inconsistencies. In my opinion, it feels like a script. And I also want to know if KP went into his room at 6 and she called, they three-wayed the sheriff's office at 6:33. And it only took her 1 or 2 minutes to look around the house and determine that he's not there. And then we saw the video where she was just quickly flying to the school and back. She did not stop and that was actually during the phone call, because during that, CP told her to turn around and go home because they were on their way. Well, what was going on in those 30 minutes? That's a big gap of time when you're looking for your child. So it took them 33 minutes to call. Seth said that the text that he was missing, the 911 text from CP, came in at 6:22 a.m. So that was before they called the sheriff's office, which is interesting as well. If you're like on high alert and it's urgent and an emergency, you'd probably call the sheriff's office first. Or KP call the sheriff's office, or 911, better yet. And then CP call or text Seth. Like, the fact that they did the three-way is interesting. It's and I think it is to everybody, right? I just noticed the time, and so I'm going to stop this one, and I'm going to go over to part 2. So it's just going to be 2 parts tonight, I promise. There's always so much to talk about, but it's just 2 parts tonight. So I'm going to head over there. You guys head over there, and I will see you there.